As far as I'm concerned, Pokemon Platinum is the definitive Sinnoh experience. There are various changes, ranging from minor to story-altering, and they all add up to a superior experience when compared against Diamond and Pearl. Now that we're here, I'm hyped to play through Sinnoh properly. Instead of heading to the nearby lake to find a rare Pokemon, Barry the Third and I decide to head directly to Rowan's lab for a Pokemon of our own. Before we can enact his big brain plan of outrunning the wild encounters, Rowan stops us and we're given our third Sinnoh starter. Turtwig and I are immediately put to the test by our rival, leading to our first win. Afterwards, we head to the lake to find the legendary Pokemon that lives here. Instead, we find Cyrus in a much earlier introduction than before. Rowan sets us on our quest when we visit him in Sand Gym and nickname our little guy Ow. Most of our level caps will be different this go around, so I'll be sure to make mention of them as we go. For now, we look for and catch the usual suspects. Buck the Bidoof on Route 201, Ace the Starly at Lake Verity, and Bonnie the Shinx on Route 202 all join up and train before we move on. As we enter Jubilife City with Dawn, we're introduced to a new character. Looker is the Pokemon world's best, worst officer in the International Police. He's here to exposit the story to us as we progress and will be a mainstay in many titles to come. Once he leaves, we get our map, Old Rod, and Poketch and move on to Route 204, where we kill our Bidoo encounter. She wouldn't have seen much use anyway. Owl was here to stay. And to drive the point home, Owl gets a crit one-shot on Starly and then mollywops Chimchar without taking any damage in our second rival battle. That's what I like to see. We catch another Magikarp here on Route 203 and move on to Orberg. Training is brief. Owl is the star of the show, so he's the only one that hits the cap before we challenge Rourke. Razorleaf takes out Geodude, Onix, and Cranidos in one hit each, and we're awarded our badge. To avoid the team falling behind Owl, everyone trains before we move on. Bonnie evolves into Luxio, Ace evolves into Staravia, and Buck evolves into Bibarel, and the freshly powered up team saunters up to Team Galactic and Jubilife. Owl kicks their butts and evolves into Grotle as we reach Floroma Town. Team Galactic continues to stir up trouble in the area, so we quickly dispatch the Grunt on door duty, his buddies in the meadow, and then enter the Windworks to challenge Commander Mars. Bonnie takes Zubat out with a single spark and gets one Lirin on Purugly before switching places with Ace, culminating in a win. We find Looker outside, one step behind the now escaped Team Galactic, and move on to Route 205, catching Jaden the Shellos. I make sure to slather some trees in the area, and upon checking them the next day, we find and catch Latifah the Combee in the Floroma Meadow and Jimothy the Burmy in the Valley Windworks. The new additions to the team increases as we find and catch Alola the Baneri in Eterna Forest. Sorry, Badoo, still not your time. In my haste to clear the forest, Owl ends up exceeding our current level limit. No big deal. This was always going to be Ace's gym to conquer. We run into Barry and Cyrus again before moving on to Mount Coronet, finding and catching Quasimodo the Bronzor. Latifah evolves into Vespiquen, Jimothy evolves into Mothim, and the team is ready to challenge Gardenia. Instead of Ace, it's Latifah that leads in battle. Bug Bite is enough to OHKO Turtwig and 2-hit KO Cherim with next to no damage taken. Thanks to her bulk, Latifah is able to outpace Roserade and eventually net another KO for the win. Our level cap increases to 26 this time, starting our deviation from Diamond and Pearl. Moving on to Team Galactic's Eterna building, we first find Looker in disguise. He continues to fulfill his role in the story before we battle a bunch of grunts and work our way up to Commander Jupiter. Latifah takes charge again and defeats Zubat with Power Gem. Ace takes over to debuff Skuntank and trade for the win, forcing the villains to retreat. Cynthia then forces us to take an egg from her before we can get our bicycle and move on to the cycling road in Mount Coronet, running into Cyrus yet again. The team continues powering up as we reach Hearthome City, the location of not our 5th, but our 3rd gym battle. Owl's Bite hits the Ghost-type gym trainers hard as we get our training started. Once we challenge Fantina, Bite continues to put in work, safely taking Duskull out and felling Mismagius after a close shave. As Haunter is sent out, I get Lola to take Owl's place. She's instantly put to sleep, so Latifah takes to the field, doing just enough for Ace to come out and finish the battle. Our level cap increases again to 32, leaving us room to continue to grow. And growth is quickly at hand as our rival challenges us to another battle. Ace takes over for Lola to battle his fellow Staravia, dropping low as we secure the KO. Weasel Pursuit traps us, but we hang on with 3 HP before Owl takes over. Razorleaf OHKOs and Monferno is sent out. Buck is nearly taken out by Mach Punch after Leer lowers our defense, but Latifah is able to safely finish the monkey off with Gust. A couple more Gusts take Roselia out, ending the battle, Yikes, Monferno pretty much solos our team with its current lack of diversity. We need some coverage. And picking up a good rod from this fisherman on Route 209 affords us the chance to do just that, using it to find and catch Tetra the Finneon on Route 218. Finneon might not be the best fish to grace the team, but I'm all about trying someone new. Especially if it means we preserve strong mons for future legs. On our way to Veilstone, we catch Shadi the Ghastly in the Lost Tower, Deez the Unknown in the Salacion Ruins, and enter the city proper. Before getting down to the grind, I decide to get our gambling tradition out of the way. Gambling doesn't feel very international police of you, looker. With our prizes in hand, the grind begins on Route 214. We manage to find and catch Rekka the Rhyhorn here and head to the Valor Lakefront next. It's here that our latest addition, Hades the Houndour, joins us. The team is looking a lot better with our new addition, so training kicks off. Partway through the grind, we find and catch Sherox the Scyther on Route 215. Tetra evolves into Luminion, Hades evolves into Houndoom, and Owl evolves into Torterra, truly embodying the nickname now. At long last, we're finally primed and ready to battle Maylene. Ace starts strong, getting an Oko on Metatite and a 2-hit KO on Machoke. Owl then uses his freshly learned Earthquake to Oko Lucario for the win, raising our level cap to 37. We quickly help Dawn out with her stolen Pokédex, have a brief chat with Looker, and move on to Pastoria City. Barry the Third challenges us to a battle before we can take the gym on this time, with a stronger team to boot. Like last time, Ace takes over for Lola, defeats Staravia, and is pursuit trapped by Buizel. Owl takes it out with Razor Leaf and gets the Oko with Earthquake on Monferno. Hades torches Roselia with Flamethrower and the battle is won. Owl then takes the gym trainers out as the grind begins anew, and the team is eventually ready to challenge Wake. I start the battle by poisoning Gyarados, lowering its attack with Ace's Intimidate, then passing an agility speed boost from Lola to Owl, enabling him to take out Wake's team with a barrage of Razor Leafs. Baton Pass is really good, and I'll definitely use it in future when I can. Our level cap increases to 41, and a Team Galactic explosion grabs our attention once more. Looker catches up to us as we chase the grunt responsible. Hades defeats the grunt's Krogunk, and we rendezvous with Cynthia as per the usual. We clear out the Psyduck blockade, powering up on our way to Celestic Town. Another grunt threatening terrorism is on the menu for Hades and Tetra, and we deliver Cynthia's old charm to Granny. Instead of just exchanging words with us, Cyrus challenges us to a battle in the ruins. A single Flamethrower takes Sneasel and Murkrow out to start, and a few more finish Golbat off. Cynthia joins us in town to talk about Team Galactic, and we finally get to move on to Canalave City. Our rival challenges us again to get things started here. Tetra's Ice Beam is an Oko on Staraptor and a 2-hit KO on Roserade, who thankfully only set up Toxic Spikes. Tetra and Floatzel trade attacks, ending in Tetra's favor thanks to Aqua Ring, and Heracross is sent out. Surf does about half, but Heracross nearly takes Tetra out with Brick Break. I get Ace to take over for the KO, leaving just Infernape to contend with. With Tetra running on fumes and no clean switch-ins, Infernape knocks Ace out with Flame Wheel, marking our first loss of the leg. Ace's sacrifice enables Owl to safely come in and defeat Infernape with Earthquake. Buck rejoins the team and we get down to business in the gym. With the trainers trounced, we immediately challenge Byron. Hades starts the battle by taking Magneton out. Steelix goes down just as quickly, and Bastiodon is one-shot by Owl's Earthquake, despite its level advantage. The level cap increases to 44, and we head to Iron Island for the Strength HM before coming back and discussing our lake visits with Rowan. Like clockwork, an explosion interrupts the conversation, and we're set on the trail of Team Galactic once more. First stop, Lake Valor. After taking some grunts out, we challenge Commander Saturn. Owl applies Leech Seed to Golbat, then switches with Tetra, who uses Ice Beam to finish the job. Bronzor is taken out by Surf, and Latifa PP stalls Toxicroak's Poison Jab for a bit before I get Owl to take it out with Earthquake. Next up, Lake Verity. Owl and Latifa pave the way to Commander Mars. Hades does big damage, but fails to finish Crobat off before needing to switch. Lola is able to get the KO with Return, then Agility passes to Owl. Owl chips away at Bronzor with Leech Seed and Bite, then KOs Perugly with 2 Earthquakes for the win. Lake Acuity is our final stop, but we have some ground to cover before we get there. After cutting through Mount Coronet again, we head through the snowy routes 216 and 217. We find and catch Silver the Sneasel on Route 217, a great addition to the team for a certain ground dragon type. Thanks, Quick Ball. Lola probably would have died if you failed. Once we reach Snowpoint City, the team does some training in preparation for our next gym battle. As soon as they're ready, Hades takes the lead to battle Candace. Unsurprisingly, Flamethrower is powerful enough to OHKO Sneasel, Piloswine, Abomasnow, and Frostlass for a clean victory, raising the level cap to 50. With nothing else left to do, we head to Lake Acuity, seeing the scene play out like always with Barry losing to Jupiter. Looker gets us into the warehouse in Veilstone, and our conquest of their base gets quickly underway. We eventually find our way into an auditorium just in time to see Cyrus deliver a grand speech to his followers. We then convene with Looker, who drops some lore on us. Cyrus is only 27? Why does he look so old? Questions for later. We resume the infiltration mission and make it to the leader before long, challenging him to a battle. Hades uses Flamethrower to OHKO Sneasel, then manages to 2-hit KO Honchkrow afterwards, mitigating damage with a clutch burn. Hades then survives with literally 1 HP to 2-hit KO Crobat for the win. Absolutely insane. Once again, I was certain that Cyrus's Crobat was going to take one of our best out. Random AI wasn't even our savior this time. Hades is just that guy. Before moving on, I make sure to pick up the hidden Razor Claw in Cyrus's room. We confront Saturn next, who has someone new standing beside him. Lola begins by taking Golbat out with Return. Ao then takes Toxicroak out with Earthquake, cutting it way too close for comfort. Latifah then chips away at Bronzor using Attack Order for the win. After releasing the Lake's Guardians, we speak with the new character. Charon is appalled that we defeated Saturn and Cyrus and seems to have big plans in store for Team Galactic. Too bad the run doesn't cover your post-game content. Before climbing Mount Coronet for the last time, I decide to box Lola. Despite all the tender love and care I've shown our cute little bunny, she's reached level 45 and still doesn't like us enough to evolve. Instead, Rekka will be a great addition to the team for coverage, and it can learn the HMs we need to get around. Looker finally admits that he's in over his head as we begin our ascent to the Spear Pillar, making short work of the grunts littered throughout. Barry the Third teams up with us to take on the commanders again, and Tetra starts with the Poseidon Special. That's what we're calling it now. Aqua Ring is crucial in keeping Tetra healthy as we spam Surf and Ice Beam to take out the commanders alongside Barry. Cyrus then puts his plan in motion, calling forth both Dialga and Palkia. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf join us in an effort to stop Cyrus, but even their combined might isn't enough. When hope seems lost, a shadowy figure rips a hole open in the fabric of reality and invites us to join it in the Distortion World. We gotta train first though. Not even I have the patience to get Rekka up to speed from level 24 to the high 40s though, so we move on once everyone else has leveled up a bit. This place is so cool. I love how twisted and devoid of logic the Distortion World feels. Despite the limitations of the game's style and the DS, Game Freak creatively captured the vibe they were going for here. We traverse this twisted realm with the guidance of the Lake Guardians, and Cyrus challenges us to one last battle. Cyrus's Houndoom hits Tetra hard with Thunderfang, but Tetra ultimately comes out on top with Surf. Latifah then Toxic Stalls Gyarados and tees Hades up to take Honchkrow down. Hades hangs on long enough to defeat Weavile, but I have to switch when Crobat is sent out. Welp. Rekka's tenure on the team is cut short as I sack it, allowing for Ao to switch in safely. Leech Seed and Rock Slide do massive work, and I pivot into Silver when Crobat is healed. Ice Shard is then a 2-hit KO, stopping Cyrus in his tracks. Also, we catch Giratina, officially halting Cyrus's plans. He really didn't like that. I finally remember to give Silver the Razor Claw, which enables him to evolve into Weavile on level up. Lola rejoins the team and evolves into Lopunny as we train up and head to Sunny Shore City. Turns out she was just one level away when I whined and replaced her with Rekka. That's on me. Volkner still wants to hang it up, but we won't let him as we ready up to earn our last badge of the leg. Lola leads against Jolteon to start, and I agility past to Ao, enabling him to outspeed and sweep through Volkner's team with Earthquake. Our level cap makes one final increase, only to 58 this time. The Elite Four and Cynthia's teams had a bit of a shakeup, and her ace isn't as high of a level as it once was. Victory Road is then sped through, and Barry the Third challenges us one more time. Tetra's Ice Beam doesn't OHKO Star after, so it hits us with U-Turn, pivoting into Rose Raid. We use U-Turn next to get Hades in, tanking Giga Drain and returning Literal Fire for the KO. Ao is able to tank Floatzel's Brick Break and Ice Fang to KO with Razor Leaf, and Star after comes back out, felled by Silver's Ice Shard. Latifah avoids Heracross's Rock Slide on the switch-in, which prompts me to switch again, to Hades. Hades defies the odd a second time and hangs on with 1 HP to KO with Flamethrower. I didn't think we'd be cutting it so close. Thankfully, Hades maintains his status as that guy. Infernape is sent out next, so I pivot into Latifah expecting a fighting type attack. Nope. Flamethrower. I now correctly send Tetra in and get the KO with Surf after tanking Aerial Ace, and Snorlax is sent out last. Lola does her best, but can't beat Snorlax alone, so Owl has to finish things off with Earthquake. We didn't do terribly, but if the Elite Four battles match this trend, we're cooked. Time to prep. Once our finishing touches have been made, the team stands ready to challenge the revamped Sinnoh League for the last time this gen. Hades leads against Aaron. Holding a choice specs for extra oomph, Flamethrower is strong enough to OHKO everyone on Aaron's team. I guess I spoke too soon before. Owl starts our battle with Bertha. Woodhammer is an OHKO on Whiscash to start. Tetra then tanks Gliscor's Ice Fang and OHKOs with Ice Beam, following it up with a Surf OHKO on Golem and Rhyperior. Hippowdon survives Surf and hits us just as hard with Earthquake, but ultimately falls, ending the battle. Tetra then continues the onslaught by leading against Flint. Using the metronome to progressively boost his power, Surf OHKOs everyone on his team for another solid win. And we all thought Lumineon was mid. Hades takes point again to battle Lucian. Shadow Ball is an OHKO on Mr. Mime and does massive damage to Gallade. Gallade goes for Stone Edge but misses, allowing for one more Shadow Ball to take it out. Shadow Ball does about half to Bronzor next, but Calm Mind guarantees we don't 2-hit KO anymore. I switch into Owl, tanking Earthquake and Psychic in exchange for Leech Seed, then get Hades back out, nullifying Psychic and getting the KO with Dark Pulse. Alakazam falls right after, and Lucian's Espeon goes down as well. We have once again made it to Cynthia with all 6 of our party members perfectly healthy. Let's close this one out without any more losses. Latifah poisons Spiritomb to start, then heals up before tagging out to Silver. Silver sets up Swords Dance and then KOs with Night Slash. Lucario is untouchable to Silver though, so Owl takes over and gets the KO with Earthquake, dropped low by Aura Sphere. I send Tetra out to trade with Togekiss, netting the KO with some critical Ice Beams. U-turn pivots Hades into KO Roseroid with Flamethrower, and Milotic is sent out. Lola tanks Surf and does big damage with Thunder Punch, resulting in an eventual KO. Cynthia's final threat, Garchomp, is sent out. The only member left on the team with all their health is our Queen Latifah, so she enters the battlefield and does what she does best, Toxic Stall. Garchomp's Flamethrowers drop Latifah dangerously low many times over, but Heal Order is enough to keep her in the game. Latifah tanks Giga Impact and Attack Order connects, ending the battle with no further losses. Each performance in Sinnoh was better than the last, and this team was crazy fun to use to get there. Some Pokemon were far more critical to our success than others, but they all played some part in getting us to the finish line. And now the Turtwig, Combee, Baniri, Finneon, Houndour, and Sneasel lines are added to the ban list. We return to my favorite region in the fan-favorite Gold and Silver remakes next time.